I'm Sandy Cameron anyways, and Roy Perkins and Dave Inns. Okay, so this has been quite a process. I just want to sort of give you people where this is all going. Like, we had this meeting with the councillors, all candidates in 2010, except 3. And from my perception of all those meetings, now you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a general consensus that they were going to try to work to reduce taxes. So what happens is, unfortunately, when you get into the seed, I guess, so if I take the property tax guide, like, the thing is, I have a little different perspective. I'm not here for anything that I would own. I'm not here for any investors. I deal with the average person, high end, low end. I can sell a house for $500,000, which I did a couple weeks ago, and I sold one for $81,000 on Augusta Street. I deal with the whole spectrum of society, and all I know is there's a lot of pain out there for taxation is one. Now, hydro's going up, other stuff goes up, their salaries are fixed, costs are going up, they're having trouble paying the bills. I just sold that lady's house on Augusta, she's going to rent. Water taxes. So the reality is, if I take 2014, pretty much everything, you can stop me if I'm wrong, since 2010 we've met on a regular basis, tried to provide feedback to council, etc., administration. We've met with the police chief, we've met with Maureen Adams, we've met with other administration, plus we've gone to council. And although the party line happens to be that the taxes are going down, in your own flyer, our own flyer, because I paid for this with my taxes, this is what they went up last year. Now, it's just simple math, but I check these things with 2013, randomly check 2013, 2014 taxes from listings I do around the city. It's 3.5% to 4.5%, the average bill. And it's very simple. If you buy this as a math, the assessment went up 4.5% on average. That's a stated fact from Impact in the city of Cornwall, residential. The tax rate went down 3.2% by the city of Cornwall. This is 2014. And then, I'm going to read it, the English side here. The municipal levy went up 2.7. Tax rate went down 3.2. Municipal levy went up that. When you add all those numbers together, this was the average tax increase on houses on just about every tax bill that I sampled from the final tax bill of 2014 to the 2013. Not everybody has them, but that's pretty much what it is, and that's math. 2013, if you use the same math by the city's own numbers, $4.5, which is the average impact assessment going up, 2.8 down, the tax rate down, and the municipal levy went up 2.9. All of these numbers are well above inflation, period. And that's what we're talking about. They have to be addressed. Now, we had a little bit of flack from an administration because of this initial first flyer. This was, I don't know where it came from. It came in my mailbox. It didn't say it came from the city of Cornwall. I said, gee, that looks good. We're trying to get people to vote. So we put that on our flyer. They didn't like that. So I said we should leave it on, but so I taken it off. I just told these guys tonight. We took out the average household income because we don't want to confuse people. We're just going down to the basics. There was also an issue that was brought up to me from 2 different existing councillors that, you know, from what I've experienced is whatever we say is really not accepted very well. Would you agree with that? The numbers we put out?
I would.
We're not here to lie and tell fibs. We're trying to do it with real numbers. And so this time around, the final thing that we're trying to do is find a group of people, if there's 6, and there's 6 on council who want to do this, then this is the way the city's going to go. I don't mean we're cutting and slashing and firing people. We're just trying to work with what we've got and reduce this municipal tax burden. And what we've tried to say is now, if we take a look at, I just want to say what we were just fighting this last thing. So on this new one that I have, I've taken out the information about, where did I put it? About the Windsor. It's just I came across this Windsor, the Windsor Star. Like, I mean, Windsor's a big city. This is a reputable, I don't know, do you know these guys, the Windsor Star?
I worked there for 2.5 years.
They're not fly-by-night. These guys, they don't produce BS, right? The Windsor Star, this is why, and I brought a copy for everybody. So I just said, if Windsor can do it, Mississauga can do it, London can do it, maybe we can do it, but we can't do it unless we buy into it and say we're going to do it. So that's the purpose of trying to find some people around the table. So here's what it said. Vander Doolen, Windsor's 6 tax frees. So they've had 6 tax freezes in a row. And here's what it said in this article. So I'm going to give everybody a copy to show you that we didn't make it up. You know, and you can go proof it yourself if you'd like. Here's what it said. It's difficult, and I'm going to quote them, it's difficult to tell why. People are going to love, by the way, this is if you guys get elected, there's a 1,200-page report for the budget, the approval of you people, and you're supposed to know everything in the budget. Well, they had a 1,200-page budget, and here's what they said. The people are going to love the 1,200-page budget. I didn't write this. One of your expats wrote it. 10.5-pound document. The bottom line in the $717 million, no property tax increase in Windsor again, with the 5th straight property tax freeze virtually in the bag, and they passed it. The point of this is just to say it's possible if we go for it. So, on the one that we provided you at the Labour Council meeting, we took out the votes Cornwall because administration didn't like it, and we took out this thing because they kind of, what I was told said that this is all not true and taxes went up. So, but I didn't look at all their budgets. This is the only article I saw. It was on the front page of the Windsor Star. So I was guessing after 6 years of it, they couldn't be saying something like that was a fib, right? I don't think. Or you'd read about it someplace else. So we're taking that out. So what we were suggesting is, here's the original copy. You can, oops, okay. So the next thing we're talking about is the taxes in the city of Cornwall. Again, I didn't make this up. I deal with this stuff every day of my life. This is on the city of Cornwall. I'm going to give you all a copy of this as well. The city of Cornwall's tax calculator on the website, City Cornwall website. So this tells you what a $185,000 house is worth, tax-wise, in the city of Cornwall in 2014. It says the total taxes on this house are $3,082.11. Okay, fast forward to the township of South Stormont. Do you want to pass these ones around, Dave, to everybody so they can look at it? There they are here. You get a bill for my photocopier. Anyway, so Stormont, they have their own bylaw which they pass. You see, this is the trouble. You cannot control, this is just a little lecture, you can't control impact, you can't control assessments. But you can control the tax rates, which the city has been dropping. But unfortunately, the budgets have been going up and the impact has been going up. So the net effect is an increase in the cost of taxes, period. Yes, they've reduced the tax rate, but the cost of taxes have increased. Now, so we take South Stormont, the $185,000 house, which I'm going to show you, they aren't as sophisticated as South Glengarry. They're the same as Cornwall, the city of Cornwall. They just tell you what you're paying in 2014. Well, they don't even tell you that. They just tell you what the tax rate is. With their tax rate of $185,000 house, it's $2,274.06, which is $808.05 savings. So in other words, the guy with the $185,000 or girl with the $185,000 house in Richmond Road, Long Sault, pays $808.05 less than the person on Princess Street or Leach Drive for the same, and it's the same house. Impact deals with it the same way as long as it's on services. It's the same house, $185,000 house, as in South Glengarry, which could be Lancaster, Sapphire Estates, Bayview Estates, or Glen Malter. So it's 35.5%. They pay 35.5% more in the same house in the city of Cornwall. Now that's not Sandy's numbers, Dave's numbers, Roy's numbers, South Stormont public record numbers. So in South Glengarry, there you have a tax calculator like the city of Cornwall. The only good thing, which we've basically been after for a while, is they show what it was in 2013 and 2014, like a lot of cities do. So they'll look at it, and the average guy will say, okay, well, they're up. Oh, the taxes are going down. Their taxes in South Glengarry are $2,409 for the same house. That is 28.5% more for the same house in Cornwall than in South Glengarry. By not our numbers, these are irrefutable numbers, period. And we think, and we hope the electorate thinks that that's not equitable or fair. And if the electorate thinks that way and votes for people who think the same way, then chances are taxes can go down like Windsor or other places, you know. So these, again, are none of our numbers. So this new form that we're going to give you is taking out all the stuff that the administration doesn't like, this study, because they don't like any studies we were giving them, have they? Really?
No.
Okay. So I've learned my lesson, lick my wounds. We're just given the real facts now, right? And all I know is from my business, I'm going to say from my business, Dave's an appraiser, Roy's in the building business. So I'll bring people in. I had a client in 2 or 3 weeks ago from Calgary. And I didn't go check him. I didn't go see this article. But why would he tell me a lie? He wasn't here checking on taxes. He was thinking about relocating to Cornwall. I showed him some $400,000 houses. They were around $6,000 a year. $400,000 houses. So I said to him, I said, what's your house worth out there? He said, $700,000 to $800,000. We're going to go back and list it. I say, okay, what are your taxes? He says, $5,000. He says, why are your taxes so high? Is what he said. Okay, forget him. I sold a guy a condo in town not too long ago. He has a condo in Ottawa on St. Laurent and Montreal Road. 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, underground parking. He sold for $220,000. His taxes were $1,800. I sold him a $180,000 condo in Cornwall. His taxes were over $3,000. He says, why are the taxes so high in Cornwall? I say, they're not. We're low. But he didn't believe me. He kind of chuckled. So these are the realities I face. So it's a little frustrating, would you say, Dave, when we bring this kind of information and we're treated a bit like the plague. But in my opinion, again, you know, and we're just trying to lay these facts out to try and not say we're right, they're wrong, but just say this is an issue. We think it should be addressed. So all we've said is when we met all the councillors last time, they all agreed to reducing the taxes except 3, right, which we didn't meet. Would you say yes, or would you? Yeah, yes. Okay.
Which 3?
They pretty much acknowledged they were going to work at reducing taxes, and lo and behold, unfortunately, this is what happens. These 3 things right here. And none of this is our information. This is my math calculation, but is anybody here a math student? I'm not trying to be funny, but somebody could just verify it, but it's just 1 + 1 is always 2. He won't sign on to that. That's what it is. But anyways, okay, I checked myself, and I randomly checked some properties I get listed, and it's 3.5 to 4.5% increase 2014 versus 2013 actual tax bills. I know we're going to be proven wrong on this after I've said this, but I'm still saying it because I believe it to be the truth.
Okay, just before we get into the questions, did you have anything, David, to add, or?
Not really, other than very briefly. I think it's really difficult, but very important, to keep a broad overview of the scenario. What we're essentially saying is the City of Cornwall's property tax, residential property tax in particular, is high relative to our neighbors. Far higher than it should be in terms of the extra services we get. It's easy to lose sight of that when you're dealing with a particular issue, when you're called by an electorate, an individual on some sidewalk issue, or whether we should have 1 or 2, or something's wrong in a park. The big picture is high taxes relative to our neighbors. We have some documentation, I won't go into that now, Mark, about why that might be the case. We're not here saying, well, you should cut this or cut that. We're looking for people who would agree that over the next 4 years, they would be on board to reduce the burden of taxes.
And hopefully a majority of those people get elected to council, and then that would happen.
The only thing I'd like to add is quite often we hear the comment that it's a bunch of business guys in the community action group, but truly the business guys also own homes in this city. So we're also residential homeowners. There's only one person of the steering committee, I believe, that doesn't have a home in the city. So we all pay residential taxes, we all pay business taxes. We do this for the benefit, or we're trying to do this for the benefit of the community.